everybody, welcome back to the kitchen for another exciting episode of Gardening with Crocs. Today we are going to slice up some cabbage that we grew out in the garden. I got a ton of cabbage. We're going to take this cabbage and we're going to turn it into sauerkraut. It won't all be done today, but we're going to do the prep for the day, and I'll show you what I got going on with that. Let's get started. First step we need to do is we need to slice up the cabbage. I already got it quartered, halved, or whatever into little pieces. So we're gonna slice this as thin as we can get it. That's what they suggest. I personally don't like it thin. I like various sizes. I don't know why, but I do. So we'll get the sauerkraut chopped up and the way we like it, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna do an experiment. I'm gonna do some that's just all green and some that's green and purple. I've never had purple sauerkraut before, but I don't know if that's kosher or not, legal, whatever you want to call it. But we'll see. We'll see if one of them works or not. All right, let's get chopping. This recipe, we are using the Ball Home Preservating book, the complete book of home preservating and delicious creative recipes for today. So there's a sauerkraut recipe in here, and that's what I'm going off of. What it says it takes is 5 pounds of sauerkraut, and make sure that, or 5 pounds of cabbage, and make sure that you are doing 5 pounds at a time, and then that way you get your mixture done. Set right. My scale here, tear it out, and I'm just gonna weigh everything. All right, let's start loading, and hopefully we'll get 5 pounds in this guy. 1 pound, 2 pounds. There's 2.5 pounds. Okay, so we got 2.5 pounds here. And it says to use 3 tablespoons of pickling salt. Okay, so we're gonna do a 1.5 tablespoons of salt here. Mix thoroughly with the salt. So let's put a tablespoon in. I'm gonna mix this guy up real quick. Let's do another half. We're just gonna eyeball this. I don't think it needs to be rocket science here, boys and girls. Thoroughly mix this in. And what this does is the salt will pull out all kinds of liquid from the cabbages. By us getting all that liquid out, that's what we can use for part of the brine. All right, so we gotta let this sit for 15 minutes, and we'll be back. The 15-minute timer is up. I'm gonna get them into these are actually half-gallon wide mouth jars. I'm gonna get them in there, and then we're gonna try to pack this in as tight as possible. A lot of people use a big crock for this. I unfortunately do not have one. I don't know if that would be easier or just using these big jars. It's gonna be just as easy. Don't know if the fermentation does better with a larger amount or smaller amount. So get this really firmly packed in here. Suggest to take a wooden spoon and just pack it in. Pack it in as tight as you can. And it suggests doing this like 4 or 5 times. Just letting it sit, let it wilt, pack it in. And you know I'm using the butt end of the wooden spoon here. And this also is drawing out a lot of moisture out of there. Last time I did this, if I remember correctly, I had 4 quarts. which would be 1 gallon. And I think we might, if I get this shoved in here right, we may have the same this time. Welcome back, everybody. We got them all into the jars. We got 2 of the green acre cabbages, and we got 2 of the red acre cabbages we're gonna ferment. Now, show you something here real quick. These are special lids made by Ball that have a little bit of a ventilation on here, so then that, you know, they're kind of self-burping. And then I got the springs that came with these. And what these do is they pack them down. These guys have been packed down so much that there is liquid already all the way up to the top of them. Thought I was gonna have to add some liquid to it. Now the Ball book does say that if you're gonna add liquid, boil up 4 gallons of water, or 4 gallons, 4 cups of water to 4.5 teaspoons of salt. So I had that ready to go just in case. It doesn't look like I'm gonna need it. These red ones aren't packed as near as tight as the green ones. I packed those green ones really tight. So what I'm just gonna do is take a cabbage leaf and use this kind of as a way to, because the jar is a lot wider than the base of the spring. And what this cabbage leaf will do is it'll keep everything submerged underneath the liquid. Now I did the red ones last, so I don't have liquid in there all the way up to the top quite yet, but we will see. And I'll be honest with you, I imagine with these green ones, I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Well, I'm gonna have to go out and pick a couple cabbage leaves and get them in there. So the next step to this process, after we get these guys all done, is going to be, that was a little stout. Rip off this heavy part there. The next step is going to be just to sit and wait and let the forces that be do their job. This is a lactobacillus fermentation. So we should be seeing some bubbles and different things like that coming up sooner or later. I am really curious on how this red or purple cabbage is going to turn out. I've never done that with sauerkraut before. I have done the green. So yeah, we will probably let these guys sit. I should get you some updates as time goes on. One of these big half-gallon jars will make at least 2 quarts of sauerkraut. That's a lot of sauerkraut. I'll probably do them in pints. I'll do some in quarts and some in pints. But yeah, so they are packed really tight. I don't know if I want to have them packed that tight whenever I put them in the quarts. So hypothetically, we may be able to get, 2.5 quarts out of one of these. So if I did that, then I would get 4, be 8, 9, 10 quarts of sauerkraut. That's plenty of sauerkraut. We'll be back. We'll check back in here in a few days and show you how things are going. Been a full month and 13 days. I believe 43 days since we put these guys into the jars. These guys should be fully fermented. I've done this one other time before. That's my caveat. So don't take everything I'm saying true to word, but I believe last time it worked out real well. I believe this time it will work out just as well. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these out and we're gonna pull out all the bits of scum that's on them. And yeah. Oh, That smells just like sauerkraut. I mean, why wouldn't it, right? So we got lid off. Inside each one of these, I think I showed you this. I can't remember what I did video the month before, but we got a little spring inside that holds the sauerkraut down. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a spoon and we're gonna siphon off some of this stuff that doesn't look near as good on top. Man, that smells fantastic. That makes me happy. Some of these leaves are just a little bit brown and wilted. That's what I'm pulling off the top here. Now for the purple or the red cabbages. The plant was red acre, so they call them red, but that looks purple to me. And I know in these I did have leaves that I was able to put down. So I'm gonna take those big leaves out. What the leaves did was the leaves sat under here and it provided the surface area to keep everything kind of pushed down. Now, I have not done much research or heard of many people doing much with purple cabbage with sauerkraut, so this might be a little bit of a miss, but we'll see. I can tell you one thing, it smells totally different than this stuff. Next step we're gonna do is take the whole gallon, half-gallon jar, and we're gonna get it into this pot. And the reason why I'm doing this is I like to, when I can stuff, we're gonna do, instead of doing a cold pack, we're gonna do a warm pack or a hot pack. You guys are gonna see me fail trying to get this out here. Let's get a fork. When you are canning, you wanna make sure that when you do the process, you either do it cold, 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 or hot, hot, hot. Meaning that with the cold, 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 if I was gonna raw pack these into my pint jars, I'd have my pint jars cold, the sauerkraut would be cold, all the juices would be cold, and then the water in the bath, hot water bath canner would be cold. I am gonna heat everything up and have everything warm. I just would rather do it that way. Okay, folks, let's get the purple sauerkraut into the bowl. These guys got a lot more juice. Now, I did do a little reading on this, and yes, you can use purple or red sauerkraut, or purple or red cabbage to make sauerkraut. It will have a little bit of a sweeter taste than the green, just because of the way it ferments. We'll just see how all this works out. You guys are gonna wanna come over and take a whiff of my lovely house. One thing I am worried a little bit about is the regular sauerkraut. And even this, I'm wondering how much juice I'm gonna have when I fill up my pint jars. So, what I read up on with that was squirrels. But what I read up on with that was that we can make a brine, and we can add that to the jars once we get all the cabbage put into the jars. Oh yeah. Man, that stuff's just pretty. Just pretty. All right, I'm gonna get these guys on this burner back here. We do want them heated up, but we do not want them boiling. So I gotta get my jars going. I have to get my hot water bath going outside. I'm gonna do this, can it outside, keep the heat outside. But while I'm doing that, we can get all this stuff done. So we're gonna put these guys on a very, very low heat. And then I got the jars in the oven, and we usually preheat the oven to about 200 degrees. Let those guys sit in there for 15 minutes to get them nice and warm as well. And I will get the water going in there. And while I'm waiting for all that to heat up, I'm gonna clean up my mess here. We have our jars out of the oven. Next step we're gonna do is turn off the burners. And we're gonna figure out how to get the sauerkraut in these jars. Thinking this might be our best bet. Whew. Smells good. It'll let me pack it in. Since I had 2 of those big jars, I'm doing these into pints. I believe I should be able to get 8 pints of each one. If I get a little bit more, I get a little bit more. Seems like whenever I eat this, there's only certain people that'll eat it. So therefore, I don't need to put them in quarts. And if I need a quart, just make 2 pints. Just makes life so much easier. Pack that stuff in there. My plan, I guess, is to get this all into the pints first. And once you get them into the pints, then I'll try to get as much juice into the pints. If you notice too, I am smashing these down into the pint jars. So they're getting packed in there pretty good. Also trying to leave about an inch worth of head space on them. Now reading the recipes and stuff for this as well, you could take the kraut and put it in your fridge and just eat it over the course of a few months. I personally like to have the fridge space, so I'm not going to put it in the fridge. It will probably drive Mama Croc nuts. Not that she gets nuts with stuff, it's just, you know, takes up space. Space that we could use for other things. Okay, it looks like we're gonna get 7 pints of the regular sauerkraut. It's hot. Fill these guys up with some water up to about the 1 inch mark. Well, I shouldn't say water, some brine. And with like a lot of everything else, you want to make sure you get your air bubbles out as much as possible. All right, I think that looks good. We'll wipe the rims, put the lids on these, and since we only got 7, we'll do the red ones as well. All right, guys and gals. This always takes a little longer than I think it should, but we're just now hitting the boiling point on this. Yes, let's get these guys in here. All right, guys, how crazy is this? Perfect fit. I got 14 of them in there. I probably could have fit 15 of them in there, but hey, that works out real nice. So these guys go in for 10 minutes in a hot water bath, and then we should be good to go. Pull them out. See you then. Hey everybody, we have the finished product here. Looking good, I think. Let's see how it tastes. So yeah, we have our pints all done. You guys like what we're doing here? Want to see more of this? Us bringing stuff from the garden inside, or us just doing anything in general? Please click that subscribe button. Click that thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below. Tell us what you think. Yeah, whether it's good, bad, ugly, we'll take all kinds of comments. We like the constructive criticism. We like to hear from you guys. Have a grateful day, everybody.